Hello, Judy. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Case Management 1. This is week 6, and today we're going to be talking about an introduction to week 6. This is the end of week 5, actually. We're going to do an introduction to week 6, the case planning, and we're going to talk about a range of different topics to help people and to try and link this idea between the client assessment, identifying goals for students, for clients, I beg your pardon, and developing case plans for our clients that are effective. So welcome everybody, welcome. Judy, this is your first time joining us?
Yes, it is.
Welcome, welcome. How have you been enjoying the course so far?
Good, yeah, been good.
Okay, excellent. Amanda, how's things with you? We're just going to check in with everyone. Does anybody have any questions before we begin? Okay. So, what do we know about case plans? Who's going to talk us through case plans? Judy, do you work in the sector? Let's put Judy.
Yes, I do.
Where do? Okay, can you tell us what's your role?
I work with people with intellectual disabilities.
Oh, good. So you are involved in case planning?
A little bit, yes. It's more advocacy work.
Okay. So where do you work?
I work for a not-for-profit organisation, and they're part of the NDS rollout in Victoria.
Okay. And in terms of advocacy, it's an advocacy organisation?
Yes, it is, yeah.
Okay. So in terms of case planning, your role would be to ensure clients have some say in their case plans?
Yes.
Okay, good. So clients are identifying what they want in case plans, and we're helping them get there. How do we help them get there? We can start with goals.
We empower them.
Okay. We're empowering our clients. And how do we empower them, Carly?
By helping them set goals.
Okay. I know it's the sound.
I can't hear very well.
There's a sound.
Yeah, I've got it. Same.
I'll tell you what, if you want to restart the meeting, you can restart the meeting if the sound gets better. Or if other people turn off, if everyone turns off their audio, except me, and then when we come back in, it might cut out reverb. It's probably reverb from lots of different people's audios. If you turn off your mic. Is that better? Okay, Carly, do you want to open your mic and just open your mic up now, and you're talking about empowerment, Carly.
Pardon?
You were talking about empowerment.
Yes.
Oh, that's all much better, right? There's refurb from lots of different people's mics being open, I think. Everyone happy? Is this the audio's working okay for everyone? No?
Not Amanda.
No, Amanda's turned off her mic. So can you hear Amanda? But are you getting lots of reverb on the audio? Well, you are. Is it me? Is it my audio? Let me turn off mine.
Hi.
You talk, Carly, and then we'll listen.
Oh, okay. I don't know what to say. What are we talking about?
Case management.
empowering
Really?
goal setting and empowering our clients in case management.
Yeah, by helping them set realistic goals, smart goals that, they can meet and you can try and help them meet. By being quite practical, setting things that are achievable.
Great. You mentioned SMART.
Yeah.
SMART means what?
I can't remember S, but measurable, achievable, relatable maybe, and timely.
Okay, good. So specific.
Specific. Yes.
Specific goals. Measurable goals. Achievable goals. You said, what did you say?
I couldn't remember.
You're in the right realm anyway.
Yeah.
Relevant.
Yeah.
Relevant. Realistic and relevant. Meaningful.
Realistic, I think, is it?
I think it's relevant.
And then
and time oriented as well. Time specific. Okay, good. So we're going to we need to set SMART goals for our clients, as you said. Very good. Let's do some examples of this. The thing is, I was just trying to write this as a thing, so you can help me. Has anyone got any examples they can hand over?
of a SMART goal.
Yeah.
Oh.
Should we start with specific? Who's got a client who they can give an example of a specific one to? Judy, have you got any examples? Oh, we're not hearing you. There's no audio for Judy. I don't know why. You turned off the microphone, right? No, nothing. No, audio's gone. No, it's all gone now. Judy's broken the internet. I'm calling Bill Gates. It's Judy's fault. So we won't bother with Judy then. Moving on. You can type in the chat settings, Judy, if you know. Do you know how to use the chat settings? At the bottom there's a chat facility, and if you try hit chat, you can type your answer in chat. Collie's gonna come and go and come back, I think, maybe. No? Collie's back. Okay.
Oh, me?
Judy's gonna type. Wait, Amanda, do you know? Carly, specific. What's an example of specific rather than non-specific?
I was thinking about Kylie and some of the things that it's not wouldn't be a main goal, but I was thinking her education. It's something she wants to do for employment or education. So that would be a goal of some sort for her.
Okay, so let's say Kylie. How are we specific? Because that's very general, right? Kind of a goal of some kind. So
depending on what she wants, but maybe just to get enrolled in some kind of education. Okay,
but we want to be specific. So, what kind of education we want for Kylie?
We don't know because she's the one that has to tell us what she wants.
Actually, that's not true. We do know about Kylie. See, Kylie left school very early, I believe.
Doesn't say
just basic.
She left home. Are you sure?
She was the one that was in foster care.
Yes. Do we know?
It does say she left home at 15.
Oh, 15, yeah.
She left home.
So I'm assuming she probably dropped out of school.
Maybe that we've made an assumption there. Maybe I've made an assumption.
Yeah. Well, I think we have.
Well, I'm going with that. I'm running with that assumption.
She often dreams of going back to school for furthering study one day, working in childcare.
There you go.
There you go.
Specific. So now we can be specific. Good. So
Get her enrolled.
where do we start?
Childcare.
Where should we
Seek.
start? Sorry?
Seek Learning is a really good place to start. They have so many courses and it's so easy to enroll in.
To do at what level though?
The fact that she hasn't done anything, I would probably do like a certificate 2 or 3 or something like that to start with, and then see how she goes and then move into a diploma.
Very good. So now we've got something very specific as a goal. Now, measurable. How do we measure Kylie attempting that kind of thing? How are we going to measure that?
Probably her attendance and her assignments and turning them in.
Maybe not, because let's think about this. What in our terms of case planning, as you said, this is not a priority. How long are we going to be providing support to Kylie, and what goal is this in that realm? Because that might not be.
I would think a longer term goal. I would think she'd address the other stuff first.
Yeah, but we can still put it in a case plan, and we can still develop milestones. So measurement, we want milestones to indicate performance measurement.
So maybe encourage her to look at what courses are available and see which one she's interested in. So when she comes back, she can show you what she's looked at and see what research she's done.
Okay. Yeah.
Give her some sites to look into. Give her some places to look. Don't just leave her swinging in the breeze.
Yeah.
Give her some really good sites to go to, or even arrange an appointment with an employment place that can go through that with her. But yeah, like I said, I would. It is a longer term goal.
Well, with Kylie, there's another thing as well, but I really like the way this conversation's going, because, Amanda, I think we're hitting a number of key points here that even if we're going with a longer term goal, we can't necessarily do everything at once. But we need to write a case plan, and Kylie needs to be in a specific place. Given her anxiety issues and her substance abuse and her trauma, probably past trauma of sexual abuse, do we not think that maybe if we rush at the gate here and push Kylie into this, that she might fail or she might not be able to achieve if she's running at trying to do too many things at once? So one of the things we could do is we could think about Kylie's needs and think about her emotional needs and say one of the milestones could be when Kylie is in an emotionally stable state that she dictates, that she actually feels that it's the right time to then go and do what you said, which was go and seek and do some research into an appropriate level of education to head towards where she wants to get to. So Amanda, really good points here that you're raising, because we don't want to do everything all at once in goal setting and case planning. And sort of laying out an agenda of how we're going to spread out our case planning is really important. Trying to understand priorities and relevance, and knowing that we don't do everything at once. So we can say that, and in another way, there's another great thing here, that you're giving a little bit of a hope thing here, where you're going, here's something we're working towards, where you say, I'm ready now to go and do that. And Kylie can go, yeah, I want to get through this emotional instability. I want to find this level playing field where I feel I'm in the right place to begin education. So we're happy with that. Do we agree? Disagree?
Yeah. Sorry, can I just say, in my experience of late, in regards to case management, I would be like, I agree with the fact that I think she's not in a position to be pushed into that. I think it's something that I think she'd like to aspire to and move towards, and I think it's important to talk about it, but I don't think it's important to put the pressure on. But given the fact that I know that case managers can come and go very quickly, we've gone through a DHS worker and 2 case managers in a matter of a month and a half. So if these things aren't put in the notes, they can fall on the wayside. So I think it's important to put in there that, yes, she would like to do some education, and that she would like to do these first, but make sure that's in the case notes so it's not overlooked.
Okay, that's a good point. This is falling at the beginning of week 6 learnings, where we're looking at documentation that's required in case planning, and then all of that stuff goes in. You're right. For many, many reasons, we need to make sure all our documents are recorded, everything, every element of that. So, yeah, documentation and recording of information, and case plans and handovers, transitioning between and transitioning between other organisations as well. Because, Amanda, as you've mentioned, this is a long-term goal, and we might be giving away our support period, especially if we're going on to this brokerage model of case management that we're talking about, where we really just do an interim job of, identifying need, sorting out a reasonable case plan, linking Kylie in with various services, and then we would end our period of support, because we're not clinical case managers in this model that we're operating under at ACAP in our course. So as brokerage case management, we'll probably give that away fairly quickly. Could be 6 weeks to 3 months type support period, rather than having open-ended long-term cases. Organizations are really geared towards certain things. So we're likely to transition that situation with Kylie to another case manager, a long-term case manager, to help her work on that. So the recording of information that you're talking about, very important. So we got measurable milestones. We're talking about milestones. In terms of Kylie, we're set. Let's start with, let's move to a different client now, because we're going to go through the rest of the SMART acronym, but let's start with another client. Who else do we start?
So with Aaron,
yeah,
he's recently quit his TAFE course. So could we try and get him in a goal that's sort of moving him back to school?
Okay.
Wouldn't that be long term again?
Yeah, maybe. I think the same.
Given the fact that his mindset is really not there at the moment, but pushing him back, pushing him to do it now, you'd need to sort out the issues that have made him pull out from it before you re-engage him into it.
Excellent.
For me, that's what I would do.
Excellent. But so what you've done is you've identified a higher priority need, right? So what would be a more higher priority goal for Aaron?
His accommodation would be the top priority for me when I'm looking at it. Would be the top priority is his accommodation.
And how are we securing the accommodation?
Well, it depends. If you get in contact with a program like Reconnect, and be able to talk to the parents and help the parents to reconnect with him and support him, then that would be what I would be trying to do, and work with the family to figure out what the problem was. It could be anything. It could be a number of things that have caused him to re-engage, all the way down to bullying, drugs.
Sure, all that. Amanda, don't run off on that angle yet. Have a think. I think I'm liking this idea. You're saying reconnect. Let's go through the SMART acronym for reconnect, right? So specific. What are you?
The specific would be to make sure he's got accommodation.
Okay. Okay. That's not specific enough. It could be accommodated in a cardboard box on the side of the road.
Okay. To make sure that he has safe and supportive accommodation.
Still being very general.
Safe and supportive accommodation, hopefully at home with a supportive family.
There, now we're on specific. They're right. But we have to be that specific, right? So we want to reconnect him to ensure that he remains at home with his family if possible.
Yeah.
Now we're going to argue that because this is a goal, we're going to assume that we've had the discussion with Aaron and that he's in agreement with that.
Yep.
And in order to do that, what do we need to do? So the goal is to do what? Get accommodation, and how are we going to do it?
By talking with the parents and supporting the parents to be able to help support Aaron.
So no, we're going to link him to the Reconnect program, right?
Okay. I thought for some reason, yeah.
This
Getting carried away.
We're going to we kind of, but this is why we're going through the SMART acronym to keep focusing on. I want to get everyone focused in on this. So we've got the SMART acronym is to keep people focused on how to drive through these goals. So we've got a goal, and our goal is Aaron reconnect, living at home with his family. What are the milestones? What are the measurable, understandable elements that we know we can employ?
For who? For Aaron?
For Aaron, we want to. We've defined that his specific goal is to be reconnecting with his family using the Reconnect program to remain accommodated at home. That's our goal. And so, what's a milestone or a measurement? It might not be a milestone.
If he can move past issues with his father, if they can both.
How's he going to get through that? How are we expecting him to do that? When you say move past, ignore them, overlook them, pretend they don't exist?
No, he's got to discuss them with his father, I guess.
Where is he going to discuss them?
Counselling, family counselling that would
Family
be supported
counselling.
through Reconnect.
So it's organised through Reconnect, family counselling through Reconnect. So milestone would be what? Measurable?
A session that they've all gone to.
Okay, so he's got to make a commitment
sessions.
to attend. That's right. So he's attending counselling sessions. So we identify that if he's attending counselling sessions, we will expect that he's working towards meeting his expectations to get to that. So achievable, we believe it's achievable that he can do that. It's relevant, yes, it's a relevant goal that he will go and attend counselling. The achievement is, so it's a small goal to, what would be the first achievement? Would be attend first counselling, right? Attend counselling session 1 would be the first one. Okay. So you don't want to put too much in his way. Go along, Aaron, have a chat with your family, go and sit down with the counsellor and see if you can talk to your father with the counsellor. Just see what it's like, see how you find it. It might not be as bad as you think, because your dad's always shouting at you, etc., etc. But in the counselling session, it might be different. So you kind of lay out those baby steps for your clients in that way. Then we go to it's relevant and relatable and real. And finally, T. What about
so timely? So maybe a 2-week period, like work out what suits him, but 2 weeks to go to his first session.
Okay, so great. So that buys a bit of time, a bit of calm down time as well. I like the 2 weeks idea rather than let's do it tomorrow, like it's so urgent. So
well, it's got to sort of work. It's got to work with his whole family as well.
Yeah, like that. But I think that's perfectly acceptable kind of case plan goal that we've got for Aaron. Now let's look at Maria. Let's do one with Maria as well.
I find Maria really challenging. For all three of them, she's been my most challenging.
Yeah, I agree.
Really? Okay.
Like I have ideas for her, but I just don't think they're the right ones, if that makes sense.
Okay, but why? I don't know why. What are the...
I've been trying to find Italian support groups. There's just nothing that...
Carly found a group last week, didn't you? In Melbourne.
I wasn't in last week.
Yeah, Carly found...
I found a place, well, obviously in my area, It's called Cara House. Just let me, which is for women and children that are caught up in domestic violence, but they do specialise in cultural. They've got interpreters on there. It's a very sort of cultural women's. Well, it's not. It does have a refuge joined to it, but they do just work with clients as well. You don't have to be sort of a live-in type of client.
It sounds a lot like Women's Health West here in the Western Suburbs.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you were just explaining of their services. Sounds very, very much the same or very similar.
That was the only.
Sorry, they were both talking at the same time.
I just went with that one because it was the only one that really went on about the support culturally and linguistically and stuff.
Yeah.
That's why I grabbed it.
For Maria, isn't it? The linguistic thing is a bit of a barrier.
Yeah.
But you know, one of the maybe here's an interesting. Let's talk about conundrum because we've got maybe people viewing the video who are on the course from different parts of Australia, and this is Carly's identified a regionally based service, and we're not really sure. Is Cara a statewide service? Do you know? What are the regional?
Yeah, no, I don't know. It's in Burwood, so out of Melbourne a bit.
Yeah, so it might be a bit far for Maria, especially if she's elderly. She doesn't have any transport, so we don't know how that. So that might be out of her region. It might not be, and they might have outreach support. Who knows, right? Some of that stuff we might need to identify. But Amanda, you said you're finding it a bit challenging, and I like this idea that because we come from different regions, and Carly might have identified a service, same service might not be recreated somewhere else. One of our students is from Gunnedah, and they've got far fewer spectrum of services available up there. So you're not necessarily likely to find the full range that you might get in Melbourne, which would be very resource rich. So how would we get around that? If Maria was based in Gunnedah, she might have a much harder time of stuff. And even Amanda's in the western suburbs having a problem finding having a problem finding issues with services in outer Melbourne, even inner Melbourne might be a bit. So inner west, in terms of Women's Health West, last time I remember they were in Footscray. Am I wrong?
Yeah.
Maribyrnong?
Yeah.
Footscray, yeah.
I know they're in Devonshire Road.
Devonshire Road, okay, Sunshine.
Harvester Road. Harvester Road, sorry.
Okay, that Harvester Road.
Sunshine.
So you might be able to go on the train. I mean, it's on the train line, pretty much. Okay, but might not be. But
it's not that for me. It's like I've put Women's Health West as one of the support services that I would refer to, but I've been trying to look for a church-based service, and they don't really elaborate much. And I found when I've been calling services to find out about them, they're actually not very helpful. Some are, and some just aren't.
I got some really rude people when I rang around. Yeah, I don't have time for this. You're going to have to call another day. Like, some real...
Yeah.
So, a very unchristian response then.
Like, I understand that they're really busy. I understand that they're really busy and I understand they're busy and we're doing an assignment, so we're not actually in need. So I tried to make it really short, but I've done a lot of my research via the internet and trying to figure out services they have.
I would lie if I ring up and say I'm calling from this agency.
I just can't do it.
I'll be scared I'll stuff it up.
But I did.
No, you just say, I'm new. I'm not really sure about how this meant to work. Sorry. What do you, because, no, you learn about stuff that way because you'll find they'll go, oh, sorry, you have to call on a Tuesday after matins and That's one of those morning Christian services, I believe. They'll give you specific times, and you kind of like, you know, but different organisations have all these different referral processes, and you kind of find out. Represent yourself as being really researching things, because services need to be open, and information offering, sharing is meant to be what they do. And you find I think it's funny finding people in the sector who are just going, I'm too busy to give you information. That becomes a barrier to people accessing their service. You go, bugger off. Just because you're a student, that shouldn't be an issue, you know. They should be able to give you information. But I think what you're doing is when you're hitting walls, which means services aren't there. And here's the thing, what I want to say is, what do we do when services aren't there?
You tend to look elsewhere, or you won't use them, so then they become unavailable and people end up unsupported.
Well, there's that. That's a systemic approach. But what are we doing in our case planning now with our clients when we aren't finding the services we need?
Look harder.
Yeah. Make them up ourselves and create the service?
Well, you could fake it, but who could blame you in a way? You're identifying a need, saying, I've looked for this service, it doesn't exist, so I would refer to this. I mean, you could, let's say Amanda could refer to the Burwood service and kind of lie and say, yeah, they do outreach, or there's a direct bus that goes from Melton to Burwood, something like that, just to be able.
No point lying to the client, though.
No, I'm talking about for assignment purposes. But actually, I'm actually talking about in the real, or for our assignment purposes, as we are developing that. What if you're finding that you can't, and in the real world, what if you find there's no real support agency available for you? What do we do there?
You'd have to look outside the box a little bit and go, okay, I can't find quite as specific, but this is still your need. Like they've mentioned the church here.
Yeah.
So, which obviously is really important. You try and link her into some sort of support there. But if they don't have it, you'd still have to get it into some kind of domestic abuse, even if it's outside the church. It would still have to be like suitable for her. But if it's not religious based, it's better than nothing. And then say maybe we would be able to find something down the track or something.
You know, Uniting Care are pretty good as terms of church service. But yeah, sorry, I'm going to run off the track there.
They're Catholic though. Italians are generally Catholic.
Yeah.
I knew that because I've been looking up.
I'm with you. I was thinking about that. Protestant. Yeah, I'm with you. Right.
It depends on what service, but like there are quite a few services of counselling services and things like that are available online.
Good point. Now,
or phone counselling, phone.
Yeah, and there's another service as well, isn't there? That you might use, another Band-Aid that might work for Maria.
Are we missing it?
Well, I think this is actually an interim one that everyone could use for Maria, and you should all be putting this on the case plan anyway.
Reconnect her with her family, even though they live far away.
That might work. Well, yeah, but then but her domestic violence situation, she might not want to share that with her family. So
it's not always about telling them that she's in that situation. If she can reconnect.
No, I think they know, and in the case study, they know about that. But it's about does she want to rely on her family to address her counselling needs? How are her family going to help her attend counselling? Because what is the problem here? Why does she need a specific service? Carly, yeah.
Because of her nationality.
Because of her nationality. So how do we overcome that barrier?
An interpreter.
Excellent. Where do we get to the interpreter from?
Well, we can get an interpreter pretty much from anywhere. There's lots of interpreter services.
Okay.
Some places actually.
Let's call VITs. In Victoria, we'll call VITs. To be honest, around the rest of the country, I'm going to be a bit lost. In Victoria, I'm going to call VITS, VITS, the Victoria Interpreting Service. And you can get telephone interpreters by appointment, and these are anonymous. And what happens is she could attend a counselling service, and they could have a telephone, an open telephone line, and I think they would pretty much be able to interpret, even if it went from phone to phone, if you're handing over those old landlines. So even an old Christian service might be able to hand that over. So you might be able to band-aid with a service like, and that this can link Maria into lots of different services, using this interpreter service as the way to provide, whether it was on-site interpreting or actually remote interpreting via phone link or something like that. So Victorian Interpreting Services could be a big way to get around what you need. And otherwise, if you can't find, let's say you can't find a church in the region, so you want to find church-based because she's churchy. Now, it's an interesting thing. You said she's Catholic, but, you know, someone like Uniting Care, Protestants, or Methodist or something like that. Now, does that matter? It's
I
not.
don't know. I don't. Depends on her, I guess.
I don't know anything about religion.
Well, I'll give you a clue. You don't want to put Muslims into the Jewish welfare community.
No.
They won't help.
I know the big things. I get that, but
Yeah.
I don't know the nitty-gritties of religion.
But I don't think those. I think if she was to find somebody who was religious to talk about God and faith, the sacrament, the giving of the sacrament, you eat the body of Christ, you drink the blood of Christ. That tends to be the major difference between the Catholics and the Protestants. Is it called the transmogrification of the body? Something like that, right? It's the belief in, but it's a very minor thing. Do you know what I mean? It's not necessarily a great big divide between two. So it might not be an idea. It might also be kind of like she might want to go to church, and it might not be a Catholic church. You might have to link her in with her, but she gets to go to a church. And maybe.
You do that.
Hey? Yeah.
So do people do that?
There are churchy people. I had a girlfriend whose dad was a very senior pastor in the Royal Air Force. And she told me that he used to drag her and her family around every different church in the region. And he was actually a vicar. He was a Protestant vicar, and he would drag the family around. You go, this week we're going to the Seventh-day Adventists. Next week we're going to the Catholics. He'd go everywhere. So people are not necessarily as, you've got to find out, some people. I mean, anyway, but there's another thing, that if Maria doesn't get the church, you could just try and link her into an older person's community service.
I was just about to say that. Most people live in areas that is very much their own culture. If you look, everywhere sort of has their own sort of cultures that are in that area, and that's why certain parts of Melbourne have more supports for certain religions or cultures.
Yeah.
So she's living in that area. If you just went to a senior citizens group that they do walking groups or movie groups, they do so many things, that might be a way for her to connect, and she'd probably find people that are her religion within that group anyway, and then find her own supports through that, if that makes sense.
Okay, so what if she can't communicate with anybody? What if she can't? What if you got the older person saying she can't really speak to anybody anyway, because they don't really speak Italian, she doesn't really speak English. Couple of words here, do you want a coffee? Yeah, si, grazie, like that. You get about that level of communication. Do you link her in still?
Well, I think it would be counterproductive, wouldn't it? And it would be a little strange to have an interpreter go with her.
No, not necessarily with an interpreter. Hello, Carly. What was I going to say? No.
Would you still get her to go?
I disagree, Amanda. Is she socially isolated? The fact that there's some people, they might not speak 100% of the language. I've taken out clients with from very diverse backgrounds. I ran an older person's socially isolated support group once. I've done all sorts. I've done so many jobs. This was years ago. I ran this group, and I had a whole range of people with people with intellectual disabilities, people with substance abuse issues, people with language skills, people with language skills, language limitations, communication limitations based on their age and frailty, people with all sorts of different interests, and you just put people together because they're socially isolated. So what if she can't speak the whole language? Can't you just go link her in with something so at least she gets out of the house and that she gets people are staying in touch with her. People are knocking on her door every week and going, you know, you coming out today? She feels alive. She's being taken out into the community. She's not housebound. She gets to go out and enjoy things with people. She might learn. Because she's older doesn't mean she can't learn the language and learn to be independent. She's 68. She's not 88. That's 20 years of her. Only takes a couple of years to learn language. You can significantly improve her language skills. If she's been housebound and her husband has kept her there, there's all sorts of opportunities that you could actually provide to Maria to improve her circumstances. She could learn English. And it's a local community centre, community home. What's it called? The community house. Beg your pardon. Neighbourhood house. The neighbourhood house. There, we're getting there slowly. The age frailty. I'm old. So the neighbourhood house, they provide ESL services, lots of them. English as a second language training, and that's for free. And then people come along, and they're kind of appropriately based as well. So they're not going to learn how to have a business meeting. They're not going to learn how to get a train in Spain. They're going to learn, you know, do you want a coffee? Do you want coffee, tea and sugar? Let's go here, get on the bus, get off the bus. How much is that? They learn about money. They learn about time. They learn some meaningful stuff. So all of that could be so you've got to be kind of creative. And the more you find out, the more you'll know to be able to resource your students, your clients. But you've got to get out there and find out. So you're doing well. I know you're on the internet and on the phone. You just got to not let those Christians wear you down. I shouldn't say this, but in my experience, I've had the same sort of experience that these faith-based support organisations seem to be the least capable. And I shouldn't say faith, I just mean Christians, because you'd probably find the Muslim organisations are great. I know it sounds very prejudiced, and I shouldn't say that, but in my experience too, that it's run by volunteers who've got all sorts of weird reasons for providing services. And anyway, shut up. Oh God, we're running late. So
can I ask a quick question?
Of course you can.
Assessment B, I'm a little confused on whether we're supposed to be doing that online or in the workshop.
We're doing it at the workshop. We discussed it last week. Yeah.
Oh, I wasn't on last week.
Sorry. But yeah, we were all a bit confused.
Yeah.
So it's not just you.
So when we go,
I have a question about that too.
Yeah.
Are we choosing our client, or will we be given a client on the day?
Interesting question. Why have you come to that question?
Because
it says
the assessment, are you given a client from your caseload?
I thought it said you can choose a client from your caseload. Where did you get that?
You will be given.
Where are those?
You will be given.
Really? You see, I read you can choose. Where did you get those notes?
From Part
From the
B of
manual?
the assessment.
Oh. Maybe they're different notes to the ones that I've got. Because I read you can choose. But saying that.
so if we're doing this at the workshop, does that mean
Sorry? Amanda, can you say it again? Or
on the workshop, is that right?
We missed your question.
Yeah, we missed the whole thing. Say that again.
Sorry, I just said so we just have to upload our marking criteria from the assessors on the day as our assessment.
Let's talk through this because I think this is an important point. Okay, I'll share the screen a bit with you and we're going to talk about this. You've got the assessments that are on the assessment guide. I believe that, give me 1 second actually, before I share, let me see if I can find, because I'm pretty sure I read that your assessment were that you could choose. So let's clarify that first.
So are you going on the 23rd, Amanda?
I've booked in for it, but I've got to see if there's any way I can do it online or something, because I'm coming into the finals for my netball girls, and it's on a Sunday. And yeah, so I have to see what I can try and work out, but I'm meant to be going on the 23rd.
Okay, cool.
Client assessment interview, week 7. Here we go. You'll be given a client from your caseload. Oh, that one says given. All right. Yeah. Okay. I beg your pardon. So you will be given a client from your caseload. Right, now, let's put that one down and let me show you something that can help you. Okay, so this is the portal for Case Management 1. And if we look at the portal, there's templates for assessments here. So I would advise that you do something here. So here we've got assessment interview checklist. So download and take that with you. The assessment report is assignment 2B. You don't need to take that with you, but it's worth having a look at that. There's the case management plan here, which you don't need. Service referral plan, which should have been, which will happen much later. This is Appendix 5. And the support service information sheet, which for some reason, Appendix 1 comes at the end. Now, here we've got some forms which you can download, which we've seen before. I would advise, these are assessment tools. Now, I would advise that you use these forms. We can open one of those up as well if you want. Let's go back to our thing here. Sorry, it's a little bit complex. Case study files. So let's open up Kylie, and here's her assessment form. So you can download this and take these with you. Take 3 of these with you. These give you the basic information for the client, the presenting situation, as it's laid out in the, it's laid out differently, but it's the same information. And then there's an assessment tool that you can use to drive your assessments. So this as a tool, answer all the questions in here. If they're applicable, if they're not applicable, say not applicable. If there's information you don't know, write that down, underline it, put a big question mark on it saying, I need to find this information out. There's a whole range of information that you can collect, and you can ask these questions of the assessor as you do your case study interview. And then there's a checklist at the end. If you've forgotten anything, you can just run through that, because, okay, you should have done some of these things at the beginning, you know, the 5 C's, discuss the confidentiality in the roles, etc. But at least at the end, if you do them at the end, then they're done and you won't have failed the assessment. So yeah, basically use this as a tool to help you to review the information for that client and record the relevant.
So we should prepare for all 3 clients.
Well, yeah, but you'll need to prepare anyway, because the assessments of this course require you know all the stories of all the clients.
Okay. Yep.
So you're going to have to do case plans for all clients. You're going to have to do the assessment records for all the clients. And you'll probably be observing interviews with other clients as well, I'd imagine, but I don't know. I'm making that up. I could just be inventing that for fun. So I'm sorry about that. My lack of experience in terms of the on-campus world is showing there. Okay, so I would use those as a tool. They're a tool. They're like a meeting agenda. Then you take them away, and then the information that you use, that you've got from your forms, you can then put into the assessment referral, assessment report, which is assessment 2B, due in week 8, I believe.
7.
2B?
7.
Week 7? Okay.
Yep.
It is, okay. So, good. Are we happy? Is there any questions about that?
No.
No, that's good.
All right. Well, we covered case planning and SMART. We'll be on that again when it comes time for the SMART goals that we need to identify for the clients in week 9. So we'll come back to this. Don't feel that if you've not got it all, you can't bring it up again.